so age discrimination is a big issue. Okay, so and we don't want to pass over that as one of the. I mean, what you've talked about is age discrimination
Right.
throughout. Okay, but just out and out age discrimination, that's a big issue, isn't it?
It's huge and it's illegal, and it's, you know what, it's just hard to prove. It's really really hard to prove. I know so many people that get down in an interview process, and it's like them and another candidate, and the younger candidate does get the job, but the company can usually justify why that was the situation. So it's pretty difficult if in the hiring process to prove that, except we have found in job descriptions and job postings little red flags that kind of show that they're looking for a younger worker. And you can kind of, dance around that a little bit. If you're actually in a job and you're looking to get promoted within your job or not face a layoff, it's pretty hard to say, to prove ageism, but people do it, and you need to just stay at it. And you have to be really cognizant that these issues are out there. Most employers are going to say they don't have age, but you and I know it's one of the isms. It's like this whole last year we've been talking about, all kinds of gender discrimination and racial discrimination. Age discrimination is part of that. It's just not really part of the dialogue yet.
Okay, you talked a bit about longevity. Now, okay, and so let's talk about longevity and jobs. I mean, some people really want to retire or would think they want to retire, at 62 or 65, but a lot of people are not, and there are lots of experts who say, it's worth it to keep working, to keep your mind sharp and to keep your body sharp. And so, talk about the importance of working longer, or for some people, for others it just doesn't work. What part does longevity play in your advice to work longer?
Yeah. Rodney, what's happened is, this generation, our generation, this is all new territory. No one, we are living longer lives, even though COVID sort of shifted the numbers a little bit. The truth is, people are healthier and living longer. And so that 65 is sort of this weird date that just sort of came up, arbitrarily many years ago as a retirement time. And the fact is, you could seriously at 60 have another 15 years of even pursuing a completely new career if you wanted to. People you could have 2 decades in retirement. So do you have enough saved? And that's the $1 million question, right? Or $2 million question, because we don't know what health costs are going to be in the future. And all we do know is they keep escalating. So particularly those last years of lives, I mean, I've seen it with my parents. It's extraordinarily expensive, those last few years in their 90s. And if we're living into our 90s and maybe say 100, these are a lot of years to have to support with fixed income. So that's why it's really important. And also the cost of living may be rising and so forth. But really, you're giving yourself a real bonus if you can keep earning, even, it doesn't have to be full freight, but if you can keep bringing in some kind of income as a safety net. But the truth of the matter is most people have not saved adequately for retirement. And most Americans who work for small businesses have never had access even to an employer retirement plan. So if you don't even have someone matching you, trust me, I work for myself. It is really hard to fund my IRA every year because, I'm getting by and I have to make myself do it, but I don't have an employer match as an incentive or that kind of thing. So you see where I'm headed here. The real reason you need to do this is for future financial security.
Okay, and part of that future financial security is that if you're working longer, you're also letting your retirement nest egg continue to grow, right? Yeah. So okay, so that's the other.
Yeah, so you can continue to let it grow. So when we go through market gyrations, as we saw last year, now the market's kind of being kind of cool for us, but you never know, it's up and down. This gives you the time to let it keep compounding and leave it alone. And depending on what kind of job you have or what kind of income, you might be able to keep contributing to that as well. Because, at 60, as I said, if you have 15 more years of working, why not keep putting money in there if you can?
So, Kerry, what kind of advice do you have for people let's start with the advice that I've heard from you before. If you're working, it's easier to go work part time for that employer or to work on contract. But if you weren't thinking about that and you left a job and now you want to come back, or you feel like you're bored and you need to do something, what kind of advice do you have to get back into the job market after you left?
Right. Now, getting back into the job market after you left can be complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Depends on how long you've stepped away from. You may very well be able to go back to your former employer if you've left with a great relationship and you still have good contacts there, and propose doing contract work for them or consulting work or raising your hand for upcoming projects that maybe nobody on staff wants to do or has the time to do right now. There's little ways that you can just re-network and boomerang back there. That's your easiest step, right? If that's something that intrigues you that you would like to do. Otherwise, your first step is going to be ask yourself those questions. What do you want to do? What do you really want to do? What are your skills that you can market? What are you up to date on any skills in your industry or your line of work that have changed or accelerated the need to learn some new things there? So if you have to do that, add those skills. There's great ways to do it online right now. It's pretty simple, but make sure that you can market yourself appropriately. And third, think about who do you want to work for? I mean, it's not necessarily always what you want to do. Is there a company or someone that always their mission appeals to you, whether it's a for-profit or a not-for-profit? I mean, how would you like to see this next chapter of your life, and how can I like to think of it as, you're giving back in a way. No matter what it is, you're using your skill set to make a difference in the world, whether it's with a service, a product, whatever it is, you're lending your expertise. So those are the big things that you need to ask yourself. Who do you want to work for, what, and why me? So what are your skills there? And then once you do that, network, and it doesn't have to be boring but reach out to people at some of those companies or doing the kinds of work you might be interested in, and see who they know, because it's usually those second contacts that are going to help you the most. And do those exploratory, informational interviews. So not hardcore press selling somebody on you. You're not selling yourself at this stage. You're trying to find out what's out there, what might be possible. Those are sort of some nice, easy ways to start the dance and get involved with industry conversations on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's just a great place to see who you know at companies and sort of get back in touch with people from your past that might be able to give you some ideas. But tell everybody you're looking. Don't be bashful about it. Spread the word, far and wide, and have some, pride in what you do and your expertise, because it's easy to kind of step back and maybe I've lost my step a bit here. No. You have to have that confidence because you can provide something, but make sure you know what that is and where you want to go.